nakita na ako, sir. So again, just to start, so our training will be about foundations of web design. This is a training workshop because you will be doing things also. You will be submitting activities, and this is for Cebu City Mountain School Campus and Naga Extension Campus. So again, I would like to thank Sir Marshall, Sir Paharon, Sir PJ, Sir Pat, and the rest of Cebu City Mountain School Campus and Naga Extension Campus for having this or for making this training workshop possible. So the topics that we'll be discussing is that today, day one, we will be discussing or we'll have um, introduction to
Lang.
web page design using HTML. So introduction to HTML, understanding HTML structure and elements. Day two, so that will be next week. We'll be discussing CSS, an introduction to CSS, all about cascading style sheet, a glimpse of SCSS. So um, if you're already familiar with CSS, there will be an update to CSS, which is SCSS. So that's another monster. So we will just have a glimpse on what is SCSS. So we will not be discussing that. I'll just give you an idea what it is. On a day three, we'll be getting to know Bootstrap. So Bootstrap implementation guide to effectively using Bootstrap. And day four, I will teach you how to deploy your project. So we'll be deploying your website. We'll be using free tools on how to deploy your website, and I'll give you professional tips on how to maintain your site. And I will give you an idea, an introduction to web programming. So web designing is a foundation to web programming. You cannot code, you cannot actually create web application if you don't know how to design in web. And tips on how to be a professional web designer. So now, so this is me, the speaker. So before we start, so I'll introduce myself. I am Kim Martin Di Rosero. I'm currently working as a full-time senior .NET developer. So I just started Feb 2021 and to present. I also work as a part-time instructor at CTU San Fernando Extension Campus. I work I currently work also as a freelance software developer and web designer. So since basically everything is work from home, I work multiple jobs today. So lisod jud ang pangabuhi. And before that, I worked as an IT manager. I worked as a UI developer. I became an IT team lead once, technical support rep, and graphic artist. So those just some of my background. And so I can say that kaingon ko nga this training is close to my heart because I'm doing this every day and I'm familiar with kasi mo tanong mo ba kung saan trainer, so I am familiar with HTML, CSS, and the topics that I'll be discussing because I've been working for that for since the start of my career. I hear and I forget, I see and I remember, I do and I understand. So please, as what Confucius said, so when we hear, we forget. When we see, um, I hear and I forget. I see and I remember. I do and I understand. So this training workshop will be making sure na we will be doing activities so that we will be able to apply, and by doing such activities, we will learn more. So again, we have selected this training workshop, web design, because this is foundation of other things that you can do with web designing. So if you know how to write in HTML, daghan kay mabuhat. So that's why I'm trying to open up this for you. So let me just try to, sorry but I will need to mute others because it's actually kanang I am not really familiar with this, but so ang topic nga mong gipili is I will I am not that good with English, so I will have proper expectation. So I am not that good with English, but I can actually answer you perfectly with some things in line with programming. So now the topic that we have selected is web designing. So I hope na within the span of 4 days, which is 4 Saturdays, we'll be able to learn CSS and HTML, and we'll be able to learn Bootstrap. So Bootstrap, that is the latest trend right now. So we'll be using 4.0 para ma-improve na to design. So for this day, there will be an activity. All you will do will just be plain HTML. You will not be applying design because we'll be doing that for the next activities. And also a reminder for the rest, please mute your microphone. I-unmute if you have questions. So what is web design? So web design refers to the design of websites that are displayed in a browser. A web designer works on the appearance, layout, and in some cases, content of a website. So you already know a website. Ba nakita mo website? So now, what we are focusing on is how to design that website. So I understand na nanay mga IT dire and all of you are graduating students na. So katong mga IT is actually familiar with web design because naamoy topic na. I think so. And I'm talking about information technology. Ang katong industrial technology because I also teach in San Fernando Extension. Walay subject for web designing. There is programming but there is no particular subject for web designing. So this might be new for you. So katong mga idea about web design, this might be boring topic na sa inyo ha, but we'll be adding more on what you have learned, and we'll be making sure that what you have learned will be able to apply it and will be able um, to deploy it sa web. So what is a website? A website is a collection of web pages and related content that is identified by a common domain name and published on at least one web server. So let us think about, in layman's term, this is how, when I'm training um, other professionals, what I compare website into is that it is like a book. So kita mo libro, so website is like a book. And inside the book, diba daghag mga web pages, daghag pages. So comparing a website to a book, inside the book, there are pages. So inside a website, there are web pages. So in a sense, the book also has information. So inside the book, ang tanan nga information na dito can be considered as the information inside a website. So the website needs to be hosted in a web server. So website doesn't really mean to be online. So it can be hosted within the network. So example, you have a site, an information system. Website la siya composed of web pages for school. And shall we say you have 50 pages for that website, and that it's actually published sa school para for the purpose of informing the students. So shall we say, I actually saw this once, and this is actually used by other local government units. So or even sa malls, kung namoy makitaan sa malls, there is actually a kiosk. So naay computer dira nga actually touch screen. Kung mangita kag information, those are just series of web pages. You just click on links and like that. So other actually has codes, but others are just information sharing. So you just clicking on links and makaadto na ka sa information that you want to go. So it's actually hosted. So if it's online, daghan kay websites nga pwede mo ma-access online, and it is identified by a common domain name. So what is a domain name? So we'll be discussing that on the later part of the session, but just an idea, facebook.com, google.com, ctu.edu.ph, those are the common domain names. So mao na siyang ginagamit to name or to access the the website. Excuse me. So more information. So a web page. So we'll be digging with web pages. We'll be discussing web pages all throughout the training. So it is a hypertext document provided by a website and displayed to a user in a web browser. So you are already familiar with web browsers, di ba? So may mga examples sa web browser. We have Google Chrome, we have Safari, we have Opera, we have Mozilla Firefox, we have the undying Internet
Internet Explorer.
Explorer. Yes, the undying Internet Explorer, but it's already updated to Edge, Microsoft Edge. Actually, Microsoft Edge is better right now. I use Microsoft Edge for testing um, my codes because it's lighter with Chrome. So, have you experienced na muhang ang inyong computer? So, if you actually open 4 or 5 instances of Chrome or butan pa nga tawag 4 or 5 tabs sa Chrome, each tab actually eats up your RAM. So, Chrome is actually resource eater. So, I don't really use Chrome, but sometimes I use Chrome because the rendering is better. But I recommend you try using Edge kay gaan kayang Edge. You also try using Mozilla Firefox. But if you have dako ang resources sa inyong computer, dako mo gram, try Chrome. Web server. So web server is a computer that hosts a website. So basically it's just a computer. It could be a virtual machine, but a virtual machine it is still in a computer. You cannot actually run that virtual machine if there is no computer. So basically siguro ang na yung mga idea ni will actually debate if a web server is a computer, but going deeper, a web server is something that hosts a website. So yung sila nga VM pwede ba daw VM, but VM is still in a computer. So if you're familiar, um, VM is a virtual machine that is actually a partition or actually Um, just an idea, if you have a computer, when you open your computer, it goes inside tawag na may Windows 10. But if you have a VM, inside that Windows 10, pwede mo, or inside that machine, pwede mo na ay tulo ka buok machine magdugan. So, pag open mo, pwede ka mamili. So, it's like that. It is not account, ha? It is actually an instance of Windows or another operating system installed to that specific machine. Web browser. So, web browser, as what I've said, is an application software for accessing the World Wide Web. So, examples of websites. Can you give me sites na it's actually available online? Sample of websites na you always access. Please be reminded that everything is recorded. So, please think about your answer. Kaya basig na yung binuang answer og mga binastos wa. So, just a reminder. So anyone, websites na you always access, you often access on your day-to-day basis?
YouTube.
YouTube.
Sir.
Anything
Facebook.
else? Facebook. Unsa pa?
Messenger.
Messenger is Facebook is actually, I mean, Messenger is a part of Facebook, di ba? Because Messenger is an app. If you actually think in the app perspective, you can have a separate app as the Messenger. But think about the website, something na you open sa inyong Google Chrome sa inyong browser. Because when you open Messenger, it's inside Facebook. Is that correct? Or basig na updated ron nga, I am not familiar with pa. So any other site? So you have Google, you have Gmail.
IG, sir.
Hmm?
Yahoo IG.
Yeah, Yahoo. So those are example of websites. So anything that you open in a browser is actually an example of website. But there is a debate right now, no? There is a what is a website and what is what is actually there's actually a debate right now. Okay, ang uban nga software developer will actually agree that this with certain functionality is not a website, but it is a web app. But for me, anything that you can access in the browser, so long as it has domain name, can be considered as a website. So you have LinkedIn, you have Google, you have so anything that has web pages in it. And some of the websites that I have worked with the development. So some ra ni siya. So I did not add website ra ni siya. I did not add ang katong mga gipanghimo nako nga mga nanay mga web programming. This is just purely designing, and I have not added katong uban nga na proprietary rights. So this is actually a site for a company that nagkuan og mga barko. This is for crewing. This is for somewhere outside na Singapore. And this is actually a landing page for the rest of their application. And those are some of the websites that I have developed. I have not added the rest. So now, just a question. Nawa mo nakita aning tulo ka line sa screen? Napuwa?
Taas, sir.
Yes, sir, na.
Nasa.
Si Naay nagkuris-kuris. So we will be focusing with web page designing using HTML. So mao ginatong focus ron. Everything will be about web page designing using HTML. So kinsa may nanay idea diri about HTML? Kinsa may sanay naka-try na with HTML? So ang mga information technology na mga information communications technology, di ba? Nakakita ko to sa nag-register. So the main reason why nag-register ko is that the first reason is that makita na ko ang volume, expected volume ng participants. The second thing is that makita na ko kung unsa inyo ang courses para maka-adjust ko ba. So I saw nga na yung mga ICT dito, and actually web designing is part of their subjects. So we'll be discussing about web page, everything about HTML. So if you already have an idea and you say na I am wrong or there's something na you want to discuss, please don't hesitate to actually raise your hand. So I think there is an option here to raise your hand. So you ask questions. So HTML stands for Hypertext Markup Language. So this will just have a little bit of idea, which is most widely used on web to develop web pages. So it was created by Berners-Lee in 1991, but HTML 2.0 was the first standard HTML. So moving forward, we are using HTML 5 right now. So before that, before ko ning graduate, ang ginagamit na HTML is HTML 4.0. But now it's HTML 4.1. HTML 5. So it's better na. You can add more things to it. And why learn HTML? So nganong needed ang HTML? So HTML is a must for students and working professionals to become a great software engineer, especially when you are working with web deployment domain. So importante kayo ni siyang HTML, especially para ninyo IT students. So if you are industrial technology and you are majoring in computer technology, by the time that you will work sa industry and you will be supporting, shall we say, you will work as a IT support. So HTML should be foundational also for you. Dapat na po kayo knowledge. What if you are supporting someone and dili siya maka-open og browser, dili siya maka-open og site, and you will say wala internet, di ba? You will just say directly na wala siya internet without troubleshooting kung nabay problema ang web pages niya. You cannot actually do that. So you need part of the troubleshooting is checking ang access sa user. So checking particularly og unsang yang problema. So here are some of the advantages of learning HTML. So first, create website. So you can create a website or customize an existing web template. So become a web designer. If you want to start a career as a professional web designer, HTML and CSS designing is a must skill. Understand understand web. So if you want to optimize your website to boost, so particularly it's everything about the website, and learn other languages. So once you understand HTML, it's easy for you to relate other technologies like JavaScript, PHP, Angular, and become easier to understand. So I am a .NET developer, so I focus with C Sharp and anything with .NET technology. So HTML is gamit kay na namo. You cannot just say na if you're actually dili kamingon nga if you are a programmer or if you are a software developer, in this time it is a must to learn HTML because humana to ang time na mga desktop app, so mga desktop application, na ay mga companies ron na desktop app is still used today, but there is a bigger market for web apps. So and if you want to create web apps, it is a must that you learn HTML. So what jobs can I have if I am fluent in HTML? So first, you can be a web designer, and web designer doesn't really focus with HTML writing. Right now, there are tools on how to properly write or design web. If you have heard WordPress, um, Joomla, Ruby on Rails, Laravel, PHP, those are being used right now for web designing. Even C Sharp is being used right now for web designing. So, but still, it goes back to HTML because even though na another technology is integrated, it still goes back with HTML. It uses HTML tags. Naara yung mga additional web developer. So, web developer is actually, you are actually adding functions with web design. So, you design the site, you develop the site, and applications developer, game developer. So, there are games right now being run in web. Multimedia programmer, multimedia specialist, SEO specialist, UX designer, UX researcher, web content manager. So those are just some sa pwede nyong matrabaho when you are familiar with HTML. So actually, usa sa rason nga we have this training is that have you asked yourself after the pandemic or after you graduate, since wala mo yung knowledge, actually this is reality. Inaghuman sa inyuhang pag-eskwela kay graduate naman jud mo. Diin mo manarbaho knowing na wala mo experience sa field. Kay ang inyong OJT is the definition of your OJT, this is reality. Ang O sa inyong OJT, instead nga on the job training, you are online job training. Sige ra mo online. So this is actually a sad reality. You will not be able to experience. But you look into the brighter side. Ako, I am just working in there is a balay, so I'm working from home. I have different clients nara ko sa balay. So if and it's actually luxury to actually work from home. Now, since nara mo sa balay ninyo, why not take this as a time to explore, learn more? You should actually explore. Okay, so nara ko sa balay, wala ko nagkuhan. So why not I use this time to learn additional skills? So today actually, in today's time, daghan kay resources. There is YouTube, there is actually Facebook has groups na teaches something. So there's Google nga you can just search any topics that you want instead of mag-ML mo. instead nga mag-TikTok mo. So this is actually a good time to add more skills. So this is one of the thing na I want you to actually have. It's just mindset. So now, based on those jobs, I will open a browser here. So this is a web browser. This is Google Chrome. So I'm using Google Chrome right now so that it's easier for you to actually view. So nakita mo sa akong i-share? Nakita na mo, Job Street?
Yes, makita na sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so this is actually to give you hope. So now, daghan kayo og hiring ron web designer, web developer, anything particular sa web. But anong daghan kayo? Because when I used to work as an IT manager, dako kayo ang volume nga ginapangita nga to work with this field, but we cannot fill that volume. Dili na mo ma-provide tanan because not everyone is proficient with HTML, not everyone is proficient with web designing. So daghan kay tag imagine every year daghan kay tag graduates, every year daghan kayo ta og kanang ning graduate sa IT or sa IT field, pero ang job requirement wala gagamay. So it's still adding and adding because wala kay tay graduates or I mean wala kay tay kanang um, what do you call this, wala kay tay ning focus sa HTML. So daghan kayo og kanang kuano, daghan kayo og mga daghan kay ning focus og technical support, which is good because technical support representatives are actually in boom right now. But if you want to focus with software, dako kayo og market ang software pod. So if we try to search web designer and the area is Central Visayas. So if we search, you see, ang sweldo sa web developer ron for starting is around, usually ang starting yun na sa web designer nga may experience gamay is around 30 up. So ang mga bag-ong sibol nga mga fresh graduates, if you are familiar lang trainable, you can start with 15. So if you have idea, so web design, web engineer, so 18 to 25, senior 70 to 100. So this is just something na to inspire you, if you want to focus, because if you actually join the software market, there's a lot of room for you to grow. Because if you focus on the hardware part right now, the technical part, though this is actually a booming market also, most of the time it is dead end. Kay ngano, daghan naman kayo og mga daghan na kayo ang nag-focus sa hardware. So you should start joining the software side. So, and aside from that, if you are fluent with writing, I mean, you're fluent with software side sa web design, you don't really need to go sa office. Para sa ako, I'm working just sa balay and I have 3 clients. So, nara ko sa balay. So, I just receive jobs, nara isugo sa kuha, and I'm I can say what I earn is good. So, software, so you can actually create a website in your own house. You can actually design a website sa inyo lang balay, and there's a lot of sites that you can actually work with. So at the end of this training, I will give you tips or I give you site nga diin mo pwede magpa-register para makadawat mo og mga projects. So that you can try, di ba? You can start with a $1 project para maka-experience mo up until higher dollar jobs nga. I think the highest right now is $35 per hour. So you can actually try that. So pwede mo sugod sa ginagmay. So I will teach you how to explore those sites. Now, going back, applications of HTML. So web pages, internet navigation, responsive UI, and offline support. So those are the applications, and game development. So much of that I'll be focusing right now with HTML. So please keep in mind that by the end of this activity, I mean by the end of this session, I will be giving you activities nga inyuhang i-complete. So I have created Google Classroom. I will be sending you the link. Just wait, so please use your CTO email. So I sent a message to everyone. Nakita na nyo?
Yes, sir.
So
Yes,
please
sir.
join. Please join. We will have activities there. So I have not added the activity there yet, but you will have an activity to submit there. So I will spend time to check your activities. So I will have Saturday afternoon to check your activities, or Friday afternoon to check your activities. Now, what is HTML? So HTML, this is actually an idea, and we will be focusing more on what we will do. So in perspective, so I would like to inform you in advance na ang ako ang i-discuss ninyo will not be more about theory. It will be more about application. So we will actually go away, dili na ta mo focus anang foundational pa. I mean, this is foundational. Dili na ta mo focus anang ginagmay pa nga butang about what is HTML na. I'll just give you a heads up kung unsa ng HTML. But our focus is actually to create a web page, to design a web page, to deploy a web page. Mo na tong focus. So this will be industry standard. I cannot say, and I cannot really say industry standard, but industry based on how I do it and how I learned it, how I learned web. So I will be informing, I will also advise you, no? I will inform you na sa eskwela ko sa college, IT ko, but the HTML that we were using sa college ko is not the HTML na naron. We're using 4.0 and it's totally different than 5. But we'll be learning HTML5 and the tags that we've been using. And also, sa una, we use Dreamweaver, we use other application nga to design, but right now we will be focusing sa Notepad++ or Notepad. So the HTML editors that we'll be using will be focusing with two, Notepad and Notepad++. Daghang mga HTML editor, you can actually edit using Sublime. You can use Sublime, you can use VS Code, you can use Visual Studio. There's a lot. Actually, I'm not familiar with other HTML editors. Anything that you can save HTML is actually an HTML editor. But what we'll be focusing is that we'll be using Notepad++. So you can just Google Notepad++, and once you Google Notepad++, so makakita mo ano yung Notepad++, you click, and under downloads, you will have a download release. So the latest, the better. So 7.9.5. So they have political statements here, but don't mind them. You just use Notepad++ 7.9. That's the latest update. And I will show you what a Notepad++ is after installing. So this is a Notepad++. Sorry about this. Okay, because I use Notepad++ also no, for programming. So here, you can write anything here. And under language, there is, the good thing about Notepad++ is that you can choose a language. You can write, you can code in ASP, assembly, mamili na lang ka diri, daghan ka siya supported language, C#, E, F, Fortran. So daghan ka siya, and H will be using HTML. So here, if we add HTML code, makaila na siya. So HTML. So \HTML. So see, you can actually, it is supported now with Notepad++. So that is why I am telling you that you can use Notepad or Notepad++. So Notepad, you can use Notepad, but the problem with Notepad is that it does not have this functionality. Wala na sa Notepad. So it's better to use Notepad++. And if you're familiar with other tools, much better. If you don't have computer, it will be hard for you to design web pages because na mga HTML editor, our goal no is to deploy, not to practice. So also, you can say practice also, but ang pinaka-goal yun na to maka-deploy. But how can we deploy if we don't create actual HTML pages? So there are actually online HTML editor, but how do you save that kung cellphone imong gamiton? If you can do it, then okay. But if you have computer, then use Notepad++. That's the download link. Also, you can Google it. So parts of HTML. So now, I will use annotate. So here, this is HTML. And this is actually telling you that this tag indicates that this is a web page. So meaning if you have started adding HTML, it's telling you na, or it's telling the notepad or telling your editor na you are writing an HTML. So this is the start. So everything starts with HTML. Siguro when you go with web development, web programming, you will not really see this, but this is handled somewhere. So HTML, it's really there. Example, you will create program using MVC. You will not see anymore when you create a view, you will not really see HTML anymore, but it's still handled by layout.cs HTML. So it's somewhere there, it's hidden, but it is foundational that HTML is always present when you're creating a website. So this is the start and this is the end. So meaning everything inside is part of the HTML. So now on the top part, it's actually divided. There is the head and there is the body. So everything in the head actually indicates kung you actually put in the head, you put the, what do you call this? In the head, you put, um, so in the head, you put your title. So where do you actually see your title? So I will open here. Shall we say, we will open CTU website so that we will have an actual website. So see, no, so you should work and strive hard. We will be the next student to be here, be part of this site. So diin ang title sa CTU. So this is the title. On the topmost part, that is the title. See? That is the title. So the head actually has the title. You will have your designs added inside the head. So naatanan diri ang design, ang kuhan, ang imuhang pangalan mo, ang icons. You can add it in the head. So meaning everything that will be used all throughout HTML will be here. So this is something na will actually define your site. Now the body, that is the content. So here, look, going back to the CTU website, the body is here. What is inside the browser? So that is the body. So we will try to color it blue. So if the head is red, the body is blue. So nakita mo sa highlight.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so in the long run, you will understand na inside the body, there will be a header, and inside the body, there will be a footer. But you don't need to complicate it. You don't need to complicate header versus the head. Okay, so Ang puwadre is the head. So this is your head. And so this is the head. And this is the body. So excuse me, so
Yes, sir.
sorry about that. Okay. It's just thing here. So now going back. So if we try to actually check the HTML tag or the HTML design of the city website, so I cannot see because naka-disable ang right click. This is actually controlled with unsa ni? This is actually an option with JavaScript. So shall we say we open a site? Asa nga website atong i-check na to. So that can actually be disabled also if we want to, if really want to. But our focus right now, example, this font awesome. I use this a lot. When we right click and we view page source, you can actually do that. There's an error. So when we right click and we view page source, we actually see the source. So we see everything sa likod sa imuhang code. Now, we see the head. This is the head. And this is the body. So this is inside a website or particularly inside a web page. So now, you will see here na design ang gipangkuhan, ang gipanggamit. So everything will be here. So it has div tags, it has navigation, it has list, and this is what you see. But what the developer or what the designer did was actually to do it like this. So now that is what we'll be focusing, and that is what we'll be learning for this discussion. So the title tag contains the web page title, the head tag contains information about the web, and the body tag contains the content of the web page. So HTML marks the end of the web page. So HTML, always think na HTML should always have a head and a body inside. Okay? So HTML basic. So this is basic with HTML. So all HTML documents must start with a document doc type declaration. So this is actually saying that this is actually an HTML. So we need to add the doc type declaration, or basically we can remove the doc type. It will run, but for practice, so that it will be easier for us, we add doc type just to indicate that this is an HTML. So going back with the notepad, we add here on top doc type HTML. So see, so meaning this is a doc type HTML. Now we are trying to write a document in HTML. So now, what is a doc type? A doc type is a declaration represents a document type. So meaning it helps the browsers to display web pages correctly. So this is actually a good opportunity for us to write HTML in the right way because this is HTML5. So you can actually write HTML without the doc type. Web pages will still run, but to help the browser say that this is actually an HTML or document type HTML, you actually add doc type HTML. So the doc type is not case sensitive. So meaning you can have it capital, you can have it small letters, so long as it's readable na doc type HTML. So this is the declaration for HTML5. So we'll try hello world using HTML. So first, what we have here is that there is a head, the title of this document, and the body. It's using an H tag. So this is an H1 tag, and this is a paragraph tag inside the body. So the result is this. This is a heading and hello world. So we will write something and the result should display. It will say this is foundation HTML foundation training, or we'll say other things. So let's try writing it. So let's try. So again, I tried zooming. Mo na ni pinaka-maximum niya nga zoom. Klaro ra sa screen.
Yes, sir.
So again, inside HTML, you will have a head. So a head has a closing tag. So that indicates na this is part of the head. So shall we say na we tab this para mao ni ang head, and we have body. So we have body. Okay, so this is the head and this is the body. So now we will have in the head your title. So we will have title. So that it's easier, you just copy and like that. So title, my first let's say HTML foundation training. And inside the body, we will have an H tag. We'll say H1. And inside the H1, this is the heading. So H is for heading. P is for paragraph. So P, you will have a paragraph there. So again, you can write something. So heading, my first web page. And you will write something. This is my first web page in HTML. Web page, this is HTML. So using Notepad++. So of course, when you have written this is actually the most important part. You click file, save. Where do you want to save it? So you will create a document in desktop. Uh, we'll save it in desktop so that it's easier to view. So foundation, HTML foundation training. So we open this and see it's saying already HTML. So we can name it as page1.html. So everything now you are writing with HTML. So this is actually the good thing, no? If you are adding doc type HTML, Notepad++ will understand that this is already an HTML. So it will help you say that it's already a hypertext markup language, because if you use the tag PHP or anything, it will help you say na this is a PHP or this is a CS or this is a registry file. You can actually write a registry file here for Windows, Ruby, Rust. So page1.html. So page1.html, when you click save, this is already page1.html. So when you open your let's open. So when you go to desktop and when you go to HTML foundation, so this is inside desktop, no? This is what we have saved. Nakita mo sa akong gi-share? I hope you're seeing what I'm seeing.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so
Mga-
you see HTML foundation folder.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
so when you double click that page, so it's the default one is it will be opened let's shall we say open with Edge, Microsoft Edge. So this is what you will see, my first web page, and this is my first web page using Notepad++. This is what you have written here. See? Now, the good thing here is that about Notepad++, example na kay duha ka screen, or shall we say a bigger screen, and ingani mo, I will edit this, I will make it, you try to check the difference. So this is I will open this in another tab. So that you will have idea on how to edit. So I will make this H2. So I will change this to H2. Control S to save. So now if I refresh this, diba ning gamay siya? And if I will add something, I will add another P, another paragraph. So, hi, my name is, so when you save that, you will have another paragraph here na, hi, my name is Kim Rosero. So you don't need to particularly close, open, close, open. So you can add your changes and view it directly by just refreshing the page. That is one of the good functions of Notepad++. Actually, you can do this with Notepad also, but I think it's for me lang personally, it's easier to view it inside. So you can actually do that. Now, the good thing about here is that you can actually just hide the head and you can focus with the body. So this is actually the standard. There should always be head, and there should always be head and a body inside the HTML. Questions before we go with the next topic?
None so far, sir.
Thank you.
Wala ra,
So
sir, wala.
we'll go with the next topic, and HTML tags. So HTML tags are keywords which defines that how browser will format and display the content with the help of tags. A web browser can distinguish between an HTML content or a simple content. So meaning na yung mga tags. So actually there are HTML elements, but I will just consider those elements as part of the tags. Anything inside in HTML nga na inani no, na inani. Kasi pangalan ni less than, greater than sign. That is a tag. So this is the body tag. This is the H1 tag. This is the paragraph tag. So you can have attributes inside. Others will say that this is an element, but element is a tag. So we'll just focus with the word tag. So HTML tags, the common tags, we have the H. H is for the heading. So this is from H1 to H6. So H1 is the largest. Can you please mute? So H1 is the heading. For the heading, H1 is the largest and H6 is the smallest. So ang pinakadako dere is ang H1. Ang pinakagamay is ang H6. Now, the paragraph will actually say that this is one paragraph. The B, meaning this is bold, it will actually make your text bold. The I is italic. Ahref, this is the anchor tag. This will actually indicate when you click that you will actually go to another page. Mao na ang inyong makita when you click something, you are actually redirected to another page. The div, that is a divider, that is actually sectioning the website. So if you can see a website, there are different dividers nga. Oh, why is it that this part is not moving? Why is it that this part is not moving? So that is actually the div tag. And image, if you're trying to add an image. So this is the image tag. This is an attribute. So meaning inside the image, you have source. And what is the value of source? So this is, you're looking for the file name .jpg. So one of the good practices when you're creating a web page now is that your resources should be stored in one folder. So dapat nasa usa ka folder para it's easier to explore and navigate. So if you can see, I have an um, HTML folder. So I can add my images there. I can add any of my images there. So I will have in downloads, I have, shall we say, okay, we'll use this. So here I will have photo.jpg. So that whatever I access, it's inside this image folder. So, or I can just save it directly here. So it depends on, but it is always a good practice to have your document sorted. So now, the UL UI, so it is practice. So inside a UL, I mean, this is UL UI, so an ordered list. So the inside UL, there is an LI. So meaning you're actually listing an ordered and bullet pointed list. So example ana kanang, what do you call this? This is actually a list. What you see here is a list. So if you want to create that in a website, kanang mga bulleted lists, so you use UL UI. Break, this is BR. This is actually new line. So I don't really use break, no. With with how I create my projects right now, I don't use break because we are focused right now with adding spaces na margin. So but now we can use break, but in the future when you improve, break is not necessarily needed, especially if you are already familiar with div and paragraphs. So break is no longer needed. And we have span. Span is actually having a span and there is an attribute. So pwede na to na ibutang dira. So we will not be focusing with colors right now because we'll be discussing that next week. Our focus right now is the tags. So let us try to let us try to apply what we have seen here. So the first thing that we have is the heading. So we have H1. The second one is the paragraph. So now we will make this bold. So I have B here and I will be adding it B here. So that when I open this, this will become bold. So my first web page will be web page using Notepad++ becomes bold. But I want my name to be bold. So mora na akong ibutang dire. So I can put it sa Kim ra ba or sa Martin ra ba. So when I refresh, ang Kim ang na-bold. Now we have italic. Example, I will have Notepad++ as italic or italicized. So I can focus on where to actually add it. So example, di ba? Na italic ang Notepad++, na bold ang Kim. So that is, we have used bold and italic and anchor tag. So I have here anchor tag. So ahref. So anchor tag is A. Actually, anchor tag right now is not really used with web app because we're using other tags like other linking like buttons like that. So okay, so I will have here a LinkedIn, or we'll have a CTU website. So we will have here href. See, the good thing with Notepad++, nana siya IntelliSense. That IntelliSense is the word nga you can actually, you will know what are the tags na you can use. So ahref, we will be using href so that we can put the website or the URL nga to nga doon. So we'll be using ahref https www.ctu.edu.ph tanawag my school or my university. Okay. So when we run that, refresh, there is my university. When I click this, so you will see na when I clicked it, it opened my university, di ba? So now, shall we say we want to have it instead of opening here, we want to open it in another tab. You can just add target. And inside the target, we'll have underscore blank. So that when we refresh this and we click this, it will open a new tab. See? So when we click this again, it will open a new tab. So that's just the beginning. No, we will just be creating something na has small anchor tags. So what we have discussed so far, we have applied H, that is the heading. We have applied P. We have applied italic. We have applied bold. We have used anchor tag with the attribute href and target, which targets to another page. So we don't want the target right now. So that's just an example. So we'll be focusing on href so that whenever we click this, refresh, whenever we click this, it will open specifically in that page. Okay. So now we have the div tag. So the div tag, this is actually a divider. It doesn't basically mura na siya divider ni siya. So you can add with like that. So you can actually put this inside a div tag. So we will be working a lot with divs next week. So mura na itong himuon sa aron. So div is just a divider. So meaning you can add another p inside a div. I will add this is inside a div tag. So when we refresh, automatic here, it's already new line, di ba? So that is one of the characteristics of div tag. It will create a new line. So you can just create another div without the p. So when you refresh it, it's automatic na it will actually go down. Because if you think na this is an inside div tag and you will enter so mahimo ra nag-usa ka line. See? Then you will actually put break na pod, break BR. So sorry, it's like that. So para mapa-next line na nimo. But it's messy, di ba? Na there is break in every statement. So we don't need break. Siguro break, summer break ratong kinahanglan dili ang break tag. So now, hello? Yes, question?
Sir,
Wala, sir.
pwede balik itong kuan sir kung saan sa pag-save antod sa makita niya ang ay masold siya sa website sir.
Oh, so after designing na, no? After designing, again, if after this, you can actually open my, I will be posting this on YouTube so that you can view. So you can click file, you can click save. Save is not working already. You can click save as or save. Then you name the page. So you have page 1 here. So .html. So meaning, i-rename na nimo my page.html. Save. And so pag save nimo na, you open your browser and you look for the folder nga diin nimo siya gi-save. So naa diri ang my page.html, di ba? So when you open this, right click, open with Edge. So makita nimo diri nga at the end it is using or opening my page.html. Gets?
Get sir, get. Salamat.
Okay, so go back. I will save us again. Page 1 so that we can just update continuously. So now we have image. So we'll be adding an image tag. So under this div, I will have image img. So sorry about that. Source. So mo ni nakanindot sa Notepad++, no? Kay na siya IntelliSense, makita na nimo kung sa iyahang pwede gamiton. So now, how do I actually copy the path of the image nga gusto na kong i-open? So this is actually what I'm doing. So at least na may idea. So when you right click here, so you can sorry, in the Visual Studio. So right click, properties. So this is actually not Visual Studio, so we will just have it dot and so meaning this is actually going back one folder. I see, sorry. We have image. We are outside. This is Rosero.jpg is outside, so we can just have it like that. So sorry about that. So now, so here's the picture. So if you're not that familiar with so in the future you will be able to understand it properly. Now, shall we say na I will be using the image inside this folder. I will just copy the path of the image. I will just have img, that is the folder /Rosero. So meaning if I delete this, the image inside here will be used. So when I refresh, it should be here still. So when I right click, inspect, I click this image. The source is img rosero.jpg. So meaning you are saying na the image inside Rosero JPEG is inside the image folder. So you check the positioning. This is page 1. So page 1 is in the top level. So it will check the image folder. Inside the image folder, you have your picture. So you can actually have it added here in this folder, but so I've said it is always better to have it added in to actually organize it. So now we have added image. Now I will add here UL UI. So UL. So again, UL, this is for lists. LI. So inside the UL, you will have your LI. So you cannot add LI directly. Dapat nasa sud sa UL. So 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 when I run, so here there is a bulleted list. So what will happen if I write outside the UL? I mean inside the UL but not in the UI. I mean LI. So example, I will try test Kim. So I will save. Will it work? It works. But as what you can see, wala dili siya bulleted. Diba? So I can have my name here. So Kim Martin Rosero. And actually that is not a good practice, no? So you should write it inside the UL, I mean inside the LI. So if you will be adding your name, instead of adding your name, we copy this, the paragraph, and under the picture we have this. Hi, my name is Kim. Yes, question? So um senior.net developer. So I am a senior.net developer. So this is one LI. So I copy again. So always remember na your string or your word or your text should be inside the LI. So atong ganaon ba para dali makita. So we have here senior.net, and we have here we will add I am from San Carlos City, no? So from San Carlos City. Now we will add another, shall we say, um, I'm 32 years old. So okay. So when I add that, so I will have here, hi, my name is Kim, senior that. So what you see actually here, yun yung lantahon, nakita nyo dire nga, this is the paragraph and this is the LI. So now, why pwede siya mabutang dire? Pwede ko magbutang og word dire inside the UL. But as what I've said, that is not a good practice to put it inside the UL. Ang imuhang one. So we will have it outside, which is this one. Because if you do it like that, there are, and you want to create web application, you will return an error. Kay it's supposedly dili na dapat dira siya ibutang. So this is Notepad++. It does not check an error. So we can write anything here. So now, this is what you have here for the lists. Now, pwede na siya to ma-change, no? But we will be discussing that next time. So what we focus right now with our 2 Rs is that we can write HTML based on, we can write HTML tags, simple, in ani siya. So you will have an activity that you will be submitting. The deadline will be Friday next week. So you will be writing something like this, and you will be writing three web pages. So now we have break, which we will not be using frequently, but you can try using. The break is, as what I've said, you can put break tag there so that when you run here, refresh, So this is inside a div tag because there is a break between a and div. So after that, you will have span. Span is actually it's the same thing with P, but this is very useful right now. I mean, this is very useful with software engineering because span will actually auto adjust. It's like, so pag-explain na ni ha. You know, when you're writing longer texts, there is a tendency now when the text or when the browser goes smaller, kini siyang may tabuan na is that when we go small when the display goes smaller, kini siya mogamay po ni siya. So what we actually do is when we write span is that we can add a CSS in span na pwede siya ma-auto kini mogamay po ni siya kay para usa ra gid siya kalinya imong makita. So but for now, span is actually just for adding something. You can add color, you can add another things there inside span, but we will be not focusing on span as of the moment because we will be focusing on basic HTML tags. So do you have any questions with the common tags before we proceed with other tags?
Wala
Wala.
naman siguro, sir.
Okay, so now the other tags that we'll be using is that the text formatting. So we have used already H, we have used bold, we have used italic, we will be using underline. So underline, example, in this LI, I will use underline, underline. So U. So meaning, once I have it inside the U tag and akong i-save, and I will refresh, senior.net has an underline in it. Diba? Example, I am no longer from San Carlos City. I have here strike. The word strike. So pag dili gina mo blue gani sa Notepad++, meaning you are writing it dili na mao nga tag. So strike. So meaning when I click run, see? Wala na, di ba? And I will add another LI. I currently live in Mandaue. So when we refresh this, I currently live in Mandaue. So there is this one and strike is here. So you can actually apply that. Now we can say superscript. So superscript and subscript. So I can have this as a superscript. So we will try to create this. So we will copy this. We will have this as a superscript. So superscript 32. We'll have superscript 32 and a subscript. Subscript years old. So when we save that and we check the HTML, so 32 is nanas babaw because that is a superscript. Years old, how about we move the subscript? So inyong makita dira is that 32 is nasa babaw, old is nasa ubos because old is subscript. Ano siya? So if you will actually check, this 32 is actually this. So which is inside a superscript tag. Now the old, which is below years old, is inside the subscript. So that is why it's going down. So now, actually, we encountered this problem before, no? Because the more that you actually work with HTML, example, na may uban nga, we encounter this problem from time to time. Dugay na kagang gatrabaho og HTML, and the more tags that you learn, you forget about the foundation tag. Now, I work with this developer or this designer nga, when I check his code, kini gigamitan ni siya og kuan, another ni siya nga gihimo ni siya og kanang usa ka control, kini gihimo og usa ka control, and yang gibutangan og unsa ni, gibutangan og mga design. Ako, why did you do that? And when I check the code, ang iyang code ay so nalimtan na ang superscript o subscript. And ako, why not use superscript and subscript? Siya, oh, nalimot ako, sir. So one of the thing that actually this is, you cannot actually blame the developer also, because from time to time you will learn more things, and pag you learn something and you've been doing that a lot already, malimtan na to nimo ang mga old and basic fundamental tags. So mo na mausay makalimtan nyo na siya. So what I suggest nga padili nyo siya makalimtan is that from time to time you review. So if you example you're doing this already, it's something new, okay, so but if you do it by heart na, dili na siya usay, dili na siya makalimtan. So no, and then after that we have small. So small, this small tag will actually say that this is a small text. So but okay, so as what you've seen, it becomes small already. But this is already already obsolete, no? Because everything is handled already with CSS and HTML. I mean, is CSS and CSS right now. That tag is no longer used. But for the sake of our first activity, you can use small tag. But we will be cleaning things next week. So we have TT, that is Typewriter Text. So Typewriter Text actually will change the format. You see, it has different format than this. It changed the font. So TT. Now we have Pre also. This is actually true, no? I hate spaghetti. So Pre. Pre is pre-forward text. What I need to put here? I play Dota 2. So, kung makita nimo dire, it is a pre-formatted text. So, this is already formatted, and the format, if you inspect the format nga naa niya, so pre-formatted text, and the design that is actually using is monospace, because pre-formatting is that it is using the format of the browser. So if you actually add pre-format, what is the default in your browser? So it's saying na it's monospace, ang iyang family, then ang iyang kwan. So there is already a pre-CSS added. So that is the use of pre. Pre. Dito na yung kwan. So now, if you actually observed, I am using inspect element a lot because that is right-click, inspect. If you actually inspect the web pages or websites that you actually visit, you will actually see the HTML code. And by doing that, you will learn a lot. So we will be doing that in later sessions. So daghan kay na no, mang-inspect element tag mga websites, and we will apply those sa ato ang himuon, so that ma-improve na to ang atong designing. It is not copying, no? Because gikopyaran pa na nila. If you if you actually look into it, ang kanang ilang website nga kuan gikopyaran nila. They have written CSS, but the CSS actually is not native to them unless they have their own CSS developer. You will also see the CSS if it is licensed or not, but everything is standard Bootstrap. So if they're using Bootstrap, kopya pala nila. So there's nothing wrong with it. So long as you read the license before copying it. So I will teach you that in later time. So dire ra ka makaingon nga. But of course, copying is not good. Copying is not good sa eskwelahan. But if you're already in the industry, if you're copying it, shall we say, na kay project, ang imong deadline is 1 week. Don't tell me you will design, ang design pa lang nimo will already take 3 to 5 days and your code is 2 days. Don't tell me yung code nimo is 2 days na lang. So that is actually not not um not typical. It's actually ubos oras, and sa industry you are not paid to do that. So you need to saan you need to improvise, you need to learn how to do this and that. So I will be teaching you how to properly copy codes safely, ang pagkopya nga kuan, and so para mas mapadali mo, because we will be learning by doing, and we cannot actually learn by just writing it on our own. So if we write it like this, siguro makwanta explore like that. But if we try to observe how others write and try to do it ourselves, we will be learning a lot. Now, EM, we have EM. EM, this is emphasis. So when we save that and we refresh this, see EM, you put emphasis in I play Dota 2. So unlike so imuha siyang unlike this na naka-italicize ra, emphasis actually applies na siya so it's the same thing, i-italicize na niya. So but it's actually putting emphasis. Now if your browser actually has more designs, this is actually designing standard na yung mga browser nga nagbutang og additional code sa emphasis. So your emphasis will be different than the actual I. So next, the let's practice will actually be focused on how you will actually do it. But since we only have 2 hours each week, and I understand na most of your tanan OJT na, di ba?
Yes, sir.
Sir.
Yes, sir.
So OJT mo. So now for you,
Yes, sir.
kung wala mo yung activity, kay example, wala mo yung mahimo during that day, or if you have spare time, you practice this. You practice what we have learned today. And for that, before we end our session, I will be giving you activity, but before we end our session, I want you to ask me something and I will discuss. You have questions?
Ako, sir.
Sige.
Sir, katong italic o emphasis, sir ba? Unsay kanang kalahi to nila, sir?
Okay, so italic and emphasis. So italic actually italicize the word actually like that. So it's more like i-italicize mo ba. Emphasis is more like you're adding emphasis to the sentence or the string. And that's what I've said na if you're using emphasis, there are browsers nga add more of let's try to inspect element, no, para makita nimo. So if we put emphasis here, inspect na to siya. Ang emphasis is adding emphasis class, EM class. Compared nga sa I, we are adding it directly as italic. So I, di ba? So font style italic. So it's like this. So it's like directly saying italicized siya, but there are browser nga ang emphasis has more styles into it. So it's more of styling in later part. We will be styling emphasis and we'll be styling italicized. So it's like adding class no nga. So it's class nga not in classroom. It's class nga we design nga example. We declare nga emphasis. If we use emphasis, we will have italicized, then font color will be like this. So, and there are browsers nga nag-actually optimize emphasis. So, I cannot just, let me check here if we can open here. Okay, so it's more of the designing standard. So actually, here is the thing right now with industry or if you're actually doing things, ang kining mga I tags ay kining bold, kining bold, other formats is no longer used. We are using what we call this. Ang ginagamit na is more of CSS na, so dito na i-apply. But for the sake of learning, so dere ang ato ang is that the emphasis is using italic. So in the sense, it's almost the same, but this can be explained more. Emphasis man good, it's more like you're putting an emphasis on this specific in this specific sentence, but so I explain niya. In later discussion, ma-differentiate nato na siya when we are adding classes na, when we are adding designs into I tag and into emphasis, because you cannot just add design into I. So
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
actually I tag, that is actually wala na na siya ginagamit ron, but we will be discussing that sa later activities. Other questions? Actually, that is a good question. What is the difference? Same thing with what is the difference between what we have discussed earlier, katong other formats. So it's more like formatting standard. So questions? Other questions? It's your time to ask na, no, so that we can actually answer your questions.
Goods na, sir.
Sir, kanang saan pag-add sa color, sir?
Oh, saan pag-add sa color. So we will be discussing that sa later session. So our next topic will be about CSS and styling. So now we will not be adding colors. That's what we will be doing. So for your activity, you will be creating the following web pages. So you will have 3 web pages. About me, so you name your about me with last name, first name, .html. My place, so inyong place, which is Naga. So let me just try to add ang sorry about that. Then ang Naga, or this is just an example, Naga, or if example nag-study ka sa Naga but you're from Minglanilla, or nag-study ka sa Mountain Campus but you're from tanan taga Cebu ra na nagkuan, or you're outside Cebu, or actually you can add your place, you can add your city or your barangay. Then inside your about me, you describe yourself using the tags that we have discussed. So na mga P, mga div, your name, kinsa kayo imong name, unsa imong unsa imong mga interest, your personal information. Ayaw lang po nang kanang mga again, we will, as much as possible, this is a training but this is tied with the school. Always think na you are doing this for your school and for the sake of learning. So now your place, you describe your place, you add pictures sa inyong place, kung mo inyong place mo inyong makita ana. So your school, You add information about your school, you add picture about your school, and then you add HTML link. So you create a link kung saan mo pag-add to from about me, mo add to my place, mo add to my school, or my about me mo directly add to sa school. So you have links in each page. And you will be you will be saving your project in a RAR. So i-RAR niyo na siya, i-zip niyo siya and upload it sa kuan. Or i-folder niyo siya, i-save niyo siya sa folder and i-upload niyo sa what do you call this? Sa classroom. So naka-join na mo sa classroom?
Wala sir, di ko kasud sir.
You use your CTU email. Ano mo email tanan sa CTU?
Sir.
So, you use your CTU email para maka-join mo. So, mo na yung classroom. So, again, mo na ang classroom. So, you actually submit it there. And so, I will create an activity there. So, for... Kung na may kuan lagi, daghan naka-join. Classwork. So, do you have questions? Sa inyong question, kaya ang atong tubagon dire is about sa activity ninyo kung namoy gusto i-clear ba. Kaya, you don't have contact sa kuha, so how will you ask?
Sir, is me, sir.
Hmm.
Parang unsa ko pag-add og HTML link, sir?
Unsaon pag-add og HTML link? Pag-add mo og HTML link, you actually use anchor tag. Dito, anchor tag. So now, if you're using another HTML, so example, another HTML, you can use the name of the HTML directly. So example, my page.html. So example, this is page 1 and there is my page.html, di ba?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So pag save ni mo na my page. So my page, when you refresh this, so break, so this is my page. When you click my page, see?
So ibutang ra siya tanan sa usara ka kuan, sir.
No.
Sa browser.
Butang siya tanan sa usa ka browser, you don't need to open tab. So now, kining inyuhang example, kining about me, usa ni siya ka web page.html. Kining my place, usa na siya ka web page pod. Kining my school, usa na siya ka web page. So total na mo'y tulo ka HTML dire. So lain-lain nag-unod. Kung naa mo sa my page ninyo, so example, ang my page na po na ako, i-edit na po na ako Notepad++, butangan na po na ako link dire, my profile. So ako aning butangan na po dire og page1.html. So on and so forth. If you have another page for your school, so example, refresh na ko. So mo ato ko my page. 'Di ba? Na-add ning ani siya sa my page, lain ang unod. Pag-click na ko my profile, ning balik siya dire, 'di ba?
Yes, sir.
So that's what you will be doing. So another page is for your school. So the same thing, ang inyong school makita ninyo is na inyong school and pwede mo makabalik sa inyong profile and pwede mo makabalik sa inyong place. Dili ka join kung dili CTO email imong gigamit. Use CTO email. So now mao na siya ang ato ang kuan ang sample. Okay na to. Sorry about that. So don't add styles, no? Make it raw. So pwede ito nyo gamitan mga itag, mga bold, but don't add colors. Make it as simple as possible because we'll be using the same web pages sa future, sa next na tong activities. So just wait ha, I will be copying this. Okay, so the due date for this activity for the activity will be May 14, 5 p.m. So please submit that. And muna to ang basihan. I will be checking, no? I'll be checking the requirements and Sir Mars, Ma'am Flores, pwede rin ako ni tagag kanang comments or unsa kung unsa kang kinsay wala ning submit okay ra para
Pwede na, sir. Pwede na.
for certificate nila ba?
Actually, ato ang kuha ni sir, ato gid base sa attendance ang ilang certificate. Sa base po sa output.
Sige sir. So i-check na ako then for kung unsa gamiton nyo for grading ba ninyo or unsa kuwarang ikuan i-check. Okay sir?
Okay na sir. Nya ana lang po ko mga yun mo kung kinsa na yung nakapass.
Sige sir, mo submit ko report nimo every week.
Sige.
So there is already your activity. So I will send the activity. Again, dili ka join sa Google Classroom if dili CTO email imong gamiton. Because this is created sa CTO email. So CTO email ang inyong gamiton. Again CTO email ang gamiton katong at CTU example kimmartin.rosero@ctu.edu.ph. So kamo you use the same also and I believe that everyone here has been provided with CTU email. Di mo gud ta ka kuan dili ta ka classroom sa Google email nako because daghan kaayo ta so there's a limit. So that's why we're using CTO email. So please use your CTO email. So do you have questions?
Sir,
Ah,
at CTO email na ko sir kay dili naman to kuan sir active sir ako. Email nga active katura sa Gmail nako.
Pwede ra na ipakuan sa inyong MIS.
Sige sir.
Please
Sige,
contact your MIS na lang para ma-activate inyong CTO email.
Sige sir. Salamat sir.
please ako kay actually pwede ra ta mag-Gmail but again limited ang Gmail nako kay dili man na kuan so kanang mao nang CTO email atong gamiton para masuod ta tanan. Okay?
Sige sir.
So,
okay sir.
Okay, so napay question usa Sir Val. So again that is all for today. So I will be uploading this video sa akong YouTube channel. So dira na ako ipang-post akong kuan. Actually nanay mga video dira mga tutorial about programming but it just started. I will be uploading more videos. So I will be uploading it there so you can just watch the video. So
Yes, sir. Shout out niyo ko sir.
So the YouTube actually I will ganara mong ugod magkuan actually mo na siya you can watch it there. I'll be uploading it today so kung gusto mo mag-review or naamoy kauban nga wala naka-join. So this is actually we'll be doing this, but not everyone will have load, not everyone will have internet connection or good internet connection. So I'll be uploading this so that when you want to review, you can actually go to that link. So now so that's all for this week, and we will be seeing each other again next week. So I hope that for others you can research in advance. You can add design, but sa uban nga wala pa idea jud, please make it raw so that mas dali ninyong mag-designing ta later. Okay?
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
So no, any more questions?
Sir.
So I think that's all for today. Sir Marshall, thank you very much, Sir Marshall, for actually hosting this. And thank you everyone for joining. Ma'am Flores, Sir PJ, and the rest. I cannot thank Sir Paharon here because he is not here, and Sir Pat. So daghan yung salamat, Sir Marshall.
Salamat po sir sa imong time karon and also the next
So
next Saturday. And salamat po sa mga share mo gipanghatag karon sa mga students. So I hope kita tanan na diri join sa training ato lang i-focus gyud ang atong kagalingon diri kay in reality that is a extra skills and knowledge na gi-share ni Sir Kim. So pasalamat po ta ni Sir Kim nga iya gyud ta gitagan og time. Okay? Then maybe basin si Ma'am na message gamay sa from Naga campus. Ma'am Christine Flores.
Good morning. I would just like to thank Mr. Kim Rosero for this training and for sparing your time para ma-train ni ato ang mga estudyante karon kay wala man in taon ni sila ma-deploy. So at least wala masayang ang ilahang 2 semesters. And sad Sir Marshall for hosting, and thank you sa mga students nga ning participate ani nga training.
Thank you, Ma'am. How about Ma'am Porte, our guidance sa City of Mountain? Kasi nga ka-share or ka-message kamay. Ma'am Porte. Hello, Ma'am Porte.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Wala ray message kamay, Ma'am.
Message. Anyway, sir, good morning. Good morning to all. Thank you, sir. By the way, Sir Tino, it's our privilege to know this event or seminar rather regarding the introduction of HTML, CSS. So our privilege to know this very informative seminar. So thank you so much for your time. Thank you, Sir Marshall, also for the opportunity na ihatag sa samo ang maka-join me. So thank you so much.
Okay, please open your camera for pictorial.
dili ko kabalo na, sir, ikaw lang bahala ni Sir Marshall.
Sige lang sir, ako rin mo screenshot lang sir.
Say posing na mo, sir.
Hindi lang ko mag-on, sir, ha?
Okay, Ma'am. Okay, pinaka the best smile. Okay, so that's all for this morning siguro, no? Wala na yung mga pangutana, mga ma'am and sir. And also
Wala na, sir.
Wala na.
Wala na, sir.
Okay, Sir Kim, so salamat. Ako na Ian.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.